What's up, everybody? It's the Everyday Dad. So I spent the last 5 months talking crap about the GoPro Hero 5 Black. Well, hooray! There's the GoPro Hero 6 Black out now. Let's talk about that. So what we're going to do today is, this is not going to be a full review, but I'm going to give you my initial impressions and we're going to do a stabilization test for the GoPro Hero 6 Black. I'm actually pretty excited. I hope it turns out well. The GoPro Hero 6 Black is GoPro's attempt to take over their own product. They are now creating their own G1 processor, so they finally control what happens inside of the camera. This could be a huge benefit down the line when it comes to things like firmware updates, when it comes to them releasing new software for it. They control the inside of the camera, they can do what they want with it. Now, I've used GoPro products for a long time. The first one I got was the GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black. I've always been a fan of GoPro. I like that they are a young American company. They created the niche for this camera. Like, they created the action camera. So I've always liked them. But the Hero 5 Black and I did not get along at all. I still have a Session 5 that I use as my secondary camera when I need a secondary action camera, but the Hero 5 Black and I we did not get along at all. When it comes to main action cams, GoPro lost me in the last year. The Hero 6 Black looks exactly like the Hero 5 Black. Honestly, I can't tell a difference between the two. I don't think there is physically a difference between the two cameras. If you're like me and you're not a professional filmmaker or a camera person, what does this all boil down to? Well, basically, the GoPro Hero 6 should have better picture quality, stabilization, and higher frame rates for 4K. I don't really use 4K, so in this video, we're just going to deal with the 1080p side of the house. So I'm really not going to talk about this too much. In the description, I'll leave some links to some really good videos that show the 4K image quality of this camera. And we're going to compare the GoPro Hero 6 against what I think is the king of the action camera market right now, the Sony FDR X3000. Now, just getting it out of the way, I will say that I much rather prefer the size and the shape of the GoPro. When I use action cameras, I want them to get in the way as little as possible, and the squat profile of the GoPro is way easier to work with than the slender, long profile of the Sony. Besides that, honestly, it's 2017 and all these cameras will take great photo and great video. We are in an age where even the crappy cameras that you can buy for cheap online are not terrible cameras. Yeah, there are little differences between the image quality of all the action cameras, but honestly, they're so close together in regards to specs, in regards to how their picture looks. It really just comes down to personal preference. What camera brand do you personally like better? Because they're all so close, it doesn't really matter. However, there are 3 things that I think an action camera this day and age can do to really stand out in the crowd. And that's what we're going to compare these two cameras between today. And the 3 things are audio. If you're going to use an action camera, you're probably not going to have a lot of equipment. You're not going to want to set everything up. So you're going to want the audio to work. And how well it works is a very, very big deal, especially if you're going to use this as a vlogging camera. Stabilization, and this is the big one. This will make or break an action camera in my perspective. I hate shaky footage. I love smooth footage, and I spend a lot of my organizational and video effort in making sure I have as stable video as possible. So this is an incredible requirement for me. You cannot fail stabilization and have me recommend you as an action camera. And so we're going to compare the stabilization in 3 tests. We're going to do a little bit of mountain biking, we're going to ride on the motorcycle a little bit, and we're going to do a quick vlogging test just to see how they all kind of work out. And number 3, price. I think of action cameras as nice, little, easy to use cameras that really shouldn't break the bank because I'm not looking for them to have a lot of manual controls. I'm not looking for them to do something that I would make a professional video out of. That's why I have a bigger mirrorless camera and not necessarily using one of these action cameras in a more prosumer mindset. So let's just wander around, check it out. I am definitely cheating right now. I've got my Rode Video Micro plugged into the Sony FDR, so we'll do an audio test right now. Audio test, GoPro Hero 6. And I'm not gonna, I've got other videos doing an audio test with the FDR, so you can check those out if you want to, but GoPros generally have pretty bad audio, so we'll check when we get back and see how good it is. So GoPro's design philosophy makes the GoPro Hero 6 Black waterproof at all times. It basically is a camera inside of a waterproof case. Now you are going to suffer in the audio department because of that, even though with the Hero 5 Black they've started adding more microphones, but the audio is still rather rough for me. Stabilization. As you can see, both cameras are pretty stable. I really think the GoPro Hero 5 Black did not nail stabilization very well. They cropped too much. They didn't take that much of the shakeout. I didn't really like the stabilization of the GoPro Hero 5 Black. The GoPro Hero 6 Black seems to have nailed the stabilization part. Now, it's still electronic image stabilization. It is not optical image stabilization. So the way GoPro is managing this is they're taking a bigger image, mainly 4K, and they're paring it down to 1080p to make it stable. Now, they're saying that they'll only pare down up to 5%, whereas the GoPro Hero 5 Black, it was 10%. So they're paring down less of the image to make it stable, but you're still going to lose a little bit. The Sony FDR X3000 actually has an optical image stabilization built into the lens, where the lens moves a little bit as it's going, which gives it a very, very stable image. My preference will always be optical image stabilization. I like it on drones, I like it on action cameras, I like using a gimbal with my mirrorless camera when I want stable footage, because I like having something mechanical there. Electronic image stabilization is not there yet. However, the GoPro Hero 6 Black has the best electronic image stabilization I have ever seen. I am incredibly impressed with what GoPro is able to do with this stabilization. Price. Now, this is going to be a big one, especially when you're an everyday kind of person like myself. I have to look for deals in my gear. I have to look for being as economical as possible to get the best quality gear for what I want to do. And honestly, the $499 price tag on this GoPro is outrageous. It is outrageous to charge that much money for a little action camera in 2017. For comparison, you can get the Sony FDR X3000 for $360 online. You can get a Yi 4K for even less than that, or the same price. They're roughly the same price as the FDR. But $499 for a non-optically stabilized, for a basically just a slightly upgraded version of your last year's model, I think that's a pretty tough sell, to be honest. And I really want to like this camera, and I really want GoPro to do well. You heard me talk about this with drones. I think there's a huge benefit in having competition in the marketplace and not just letting one company, cough cough DJI, having one company having the overwhelming market share of the item, or you'll get things that do not progress. So in conclusion, what are my initial thoughts of the GoPro Hero 6 Black? Well, to be quite honest, it is way overpriced. And like I said earlier, I really want them to succeed. I want GoPro to do well. It breaks my heart to not like this camera, but I've already run into several issues just today of the GoPro Hero 6 Black doing exactly what the GoPro Hero 5 Black used to do. Hey, so I just got done with the ride, getting ready to pack up and head out. It's doing it again. The second time it's locked up and won't work, just when it's trying to save the footage, so not looking too good. I had it freeze up on me 3 times today and lost all the footage. I've lost 3 sets of footage just today from this thing. I hit the shutter button to stop the recording, it gives saving and then just freezes on saving. I have to pull the battery to get it to stop doing that. And that's unacceptable. Like, that is unacceptable. If I have a camera and I'm recording something, I expect that it will save that footage. Like, that is just an expectation of cameras. If you cannot record footage, you are not a camera. So the electronic image stabilization on this camera is fantastic. It is really good, and it is way better than the Hero 5 Black and the Hero 5 Session. It is the best electronic image stabilization I've ever seen. I'm really impressed with what they're able to do. I like that GoPro fully owns what's inside of this camera so that they can control how they upgrade it. They don't have to worry about, oh, is this processor actually going to work with this software we want to do? because they designed this GP1 from the ground up. So if they can't figure it out, well then nobody can figure it out because it's their camera. I did not come into this totally unbiased, and we will do as unbiased a review as possible here in the next couple of weeks where I will fully dig into this, but initial impressions are they better release a firmware update here really soon that fixes that crashing issue, or I'm just gonna return it because it does not work. Basically. Well, all right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have a test you want me to run on this, leave a comment below and I'll check it out, because I really, when it comes to tech in this channel, I think of me as being able to help you guys out. So if you're interested in the GoPro Hero 6 Black, you'd be like, hey, Everyday Dad, check and see if this works, and then we can figure it out together before you go out and potentially waste your money on it. And if you like what you saw, click that subscribe button down below. This is an outlier video. Normally I do cheap tech reviews on Mondays, YouTube gear reviews on Wednesdays, and drone videos on Fridays. So this is going to be an outlier. I think this is either going to go up Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on how long it takes me to edit it. But if you like that, click that subscribe button down below. Well, hey, I'm the Everyday Dad. If I can figure out, well, I can't actually figure out how to use this camera yet. So if you can figure it out, you let me know, and then we can figure it out together. And you can do your video where you say, hey, Everyday Dad, I can figure it out. You can figure it out. Thanks for watching.